Hi, I'm Ashley Watkins, job search coach and nationally certified resume writer with Right Step Resumes. I help job seekers just like you land more interviews and job offers at the salaries they deserve. Today, I want to talk to you about ways that you can future proof your resume. So you'll get these tips that will take you into 2021 so that you can bounce back after the pandemic. Number one, start with the end in mind. You want to think about where you're headed and how the skills that you've gained along the way can help position you for your new target role. So, doing self inventory to figure out truly what you want and then try to align that with the employer's needs. So, after you research this target employer, find out what they really need out of their new workforce. Each employer is going to hire people that solve problems for them. So, in your unique value proposition, you are laying out plain and simple what it is that you do best and how it can benefit that employer's bottom line. You also want to find some way to show that you can operate in this new normal, that you can transition into a virtual environment, that the skills that you have right now that you're using in person can transition into that virtual platform so that you can respond to your new employer's evolving business needs. The next step is studying the job posting thoroughly. Don't just skip to the experience requirements and the education requirements and then applying just because you meet that. Really read that posting line by line, because what you'll find is keywords that the applicant tracking system will use to identify whether or not somebody's qualified for the role. You want to make sure that you're incorporating that information into your resume. You're giving them an idea of what they can seek to gain from you because you speak their language. You have the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities that they have. You can also find out whether or not the position is a right fit for you if you read closely throughout the posting. You also want to pay attention to any virtual platforms that they're using currently to help them conduct their business every day. Do you have experience with those platforms? That's a way to set yourself apart from other job seekers, is to show that you're a better match, that you are doing currently. Right now, you're prepared to hit the ground running and get them the results that they want. The next thing is to remember the top one third of your resume. This is prime real estate for the resume, for you to go ahead and grab that reader's attention and entice them to read further along in your document. You want them to read it from start to finish. And you do that by including the most important information at the top of your resume. So if you have a relevant degree and maybe you're a career changer, so you're counting on that degree to elevate you to the top of the pile. Focus on your degree, focus on your accomplishments, and focus on those competencies and skills that you have that are relevant to your job posting. Quantify your achievements. Recruiters and hiring managers want to see numbers. Again, employers hire people who solve problems for them. So any time that you can give a specific example that demonstrates your ability to save money, make money, build relationships, eliminate risk, or create a process, or maybe you improve a process to shorten the amount of time it takes to get something done, always include that in your resume. It's one thing just to say that you have the experience, but those who rise to the top of the pile are able to clearly demonstrate that with examples. Also, don't forget about those projects that you may have started pre-COVID. Just because you weren't able to see it through to the end doesn't mean that experience doesn't mean anything, right? So go ahead and give yourself credit for that. You can put a little note or disclaimer there that the project was halted due to COVID-19, but really, really give yourself credit for that. Celebrate any of your small wins. Fill those gaps on your resume as well with maybe your education, volunteer opportunities. Maybe you did a training course. Maybe you did some consulting work or part-time work. Don't be afraid to list that information just very briefly if it's not relevant to maybe your job target or relevant to your experience. Sometimes you have to take opportunities that are less desirable, just to get you by. So even if you were laid off, if you were furloughed, I remember when I was in corporate recruiting, I was recruiting during the recession, and there were tons of people with gaps on their resumes, but they explained those gaps in their cover letters, or they explained them, very well in an interview. So don't assume that just because COVID-19 or this pandemic is affecting a lot of other job seekers that it's really a no-brainer, right? That's why you don't have a job. Don't leave anything up to assumption. If you're asked about that, be prepared to have those conversations. And again, you can decide whether or not it's appropriate for you to list it on your resume or on your cover letter or in your networking opportunities. If you took a personal sabbatical to travel the world, or maybe to care for a sick family member, or to be a stay-at-home parent, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You just need to be prepared to have that conversation and to really, really express your interest in re-entering the workforce. But anything is possible. Again, this is your way to bounce back after the pandemic. All right, get rid of those overused phrases on your resume or outdated sections of your resume. So if you're saying things like, I'm a team player, I'm a multitasker, I'm accomplished, what does that really mean? Try to transition that into, instead of saying the actual word that I'm a team player or multitasker, give a clear example that demonstrates your ability to work on multiple tasks or complete multiple tasks successfully, at the same time. If you're a team player, give an example of how you contributed to the team and how those contributions actually impacted the company's bottom line. An objective statement. If you have one on your resume right now, transition that into a summary statement. The summary statement is more of your brand and what that employer will gain by hiring you. So again, it's the who you are, what you do, and how you add value. Include that unique value proposition versus an objective, which is just clearly stating what you as the job seeker want. Remember, it's about the employer. It's about how you are able to solve their problem. As far as references go, if you're listing those on your resume without the employer specifically stating that they need that, you may be doing yourself a disservice. You want to always give your references an opportunity to understand the position that you're targeting right now, as well as give them examples of things that you've done that they need to speak to when they're contacted about your performance. The references are there to help you. Don't let them get caught flat-footed or off guard by listing their information on your resume and they don't even know what types of opportunities you're targeting. So be more prepared and give your references a little bit of a heads up. Cut the fluff on your document. Keep everything, very concise. So any irrelevant roles that you have, don't spend a whole lot of time talking about that. Remember, you only have about 1 to 2 pages to explain to an employer why you are the best fit. So irrelevant information can take up that space that you can use to talk about those things that you were successful in as they relate to your new target. When you go further back on your resume, minimize those bullets on those older jobs. And again, use that prime real estate to talk about current information and how it's relevant to your job target. If you have high school information on there, yet you have a bachelor's or a master's, okay, well, that's no-brainer information. Don't list that irrelevant information on your resume. As far as soft skills, it's better to demonstrate those than actually list them on your document. It makes them there's more weight assigned to them when you actually go ahead and give that example versus just saying, I'm a great communicator. Remember to keep it short and sweet. So I talked before about the resume being 1 to 2 pages. There are some people who have resumes that are longer than that. So, they may be in senior leadership or maybe it's a federal resume. But for your standard resume, try to keep it to 1 to 2 pages. Don't use any busy fonts. Make sure that your information translates into a mobile environment. Check your margins. Don't have any large margins. Try to keep them at a half an inch all around so that it just looks better. So that leads me to the next tip, which is formatting. You really, really want to pay attention to the formatting of your document. Be consistent throughout your document. So if you use bold for your job titles in one section, bold it in the next position as well for consistency. Mind your white space. You want to give your document room to breathe because it's easier to read. It translates across multiple types of devices. So you also want to use shaders and shading and borders to add interest to your document, to draw the reader's attention to certain information. You can also use things like color. That create an interesting component to formatting. The next thing is don't forget to network. This is last, but it's definitely not least. There are 122 million people who received an interview from a networking connection, from connecting with people on LinkedIn. There are 35.5 million people who were hired by someone that they were connected to on LinkedIn. So always be networking. Nurture your network before you need it. Most of all, understand that there are ways for you to future-proof your resumes right there at home by yourself. If you need more tips and strategies just like these, be sure to visit me on rightstepresumes.com. Happy job hunting.